Hello, Uggies worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today we're going to take a look at something called the Tiny Spectrum Analyzer. It is closely related to the Nano VNA. This time I got it from the right supplier, which is R&L Electronics, which is an American retailer. And they have them, and they were out of them when I called them, but I asked if I could place an order, and sure enough, after a couple weeks, the thing shipped to me. So we're going to do a couple things in this introductory video to the Tiny Spectrum Analyzer. First of all, we'll unpack it so we can see everything that comes with it. And then we're going to do a quick test, the same test we do with all the handhelds and stuff that come through here. We're going to do a spectrum test on them and see how they do. Now, there's lots of things that we could do with this, and we may do that in future videos, but let's take a look first at what's in the box. Before we open the box, let's say thank you to K0MRD _ Radio Prepper. Now, we know what his hobby is. He is one of my new patrons, and thank you very much. You too can become a patron of this channel by going to patreon.com/KE0OG. Now let's take a look inside that box. Okay, we got this from R&L Electronics, which has a web address of randl.com. Okay, www.randl.com. All right, R&L Electronics. They actually carry quite a bit of stuff for ham radio. So this is the Tiny Spectrum Analyzer. If you get it from R&L, it comes in this really neat box, which is the kind of box that you can keep it in forever. Nice, sturdy box. I put my receipt in there. Oh, let's see how much it cost. Oh, it doesn't show on here. It's around $100. Okay, first of all, here is the actual spectrum analyzer, the Tiny Spectrum Analyzer Ultra. And this has the 4-inch screen on it. Okay, now notice at the top you've got an on-off switch and this thing you can push to either side or press down on, which is the same as the Nano VNA. So I would think it's part of the same group. To view the user manual and unlock the Ultra mode, go to https://tinysa.org. Okay, tinysa.org. And it is, I believe, an open source item. So here is the actual spectrum analyzer, not very big, and nowhere near even my spectrum analyzer over on the bench. Now look at this. This is a whip antenna. I'm going to show you how we use this. And it's got a little male SMA connector on it. And then inside here is a coupler for SNA. And if we look inside, that is female. And that is female. Okay, so we can take two SMA connectors and connect them. There's a little set of earplugs in this. This is something unusual about spectrum analyzers. If you're using a recognized form, a common form of modulation, in addition to looking at the spectrum, you can also listen to the decoded part of it, like if it's FM or something like that. Okay, so we've got that. This right here is a little strap you can put on the thing. It's elastic, and on it is a little guitar pick. It's a different type of touchscreen from your iPad. All you need to do is touch it physically with this, and this helps you get to the tiny little menu items. There is a USB-C, USB-A to USB-C connector here that is used for charging the item right there. And I believe you can also get data from this onto the screen. And then there are a couple of extension cords that are all SMA male connectors. Okay, so this is all that you get. Now, just to see what happens here, I'm going to set all this aside, and we're going to take this and put this, which is the whip antenna, on here. Okay, down here we'll extend it. We'll just go up with it, all right. Now let's turn this thing on. Okay, this is listening to the spectrum here in the house. It's not very strong. You can see the scale over on this side. It's got 0 dB up at the top, minus 10, minus 20, minus 30, which would be a microwatt, and so on. So it's just a little bit of background noise. Now I have here the Quan Cheng let's see what it is. I think it says in here it is the model UVK5. Okay, we just did this in a recent video. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to transmit on 2 meters. And let's take a look at this as I transmit on it. Okay, I'm going to transmit. Now it readjusts the scale so that it's 30 dBm. We'll move this a little further away. It will readjust the scale, and now we can tell just how far down the harmonics are. So we have this is at 10 dBm. This is at minus 20, about minus 25. So you add that 10 back in, minus 35 dB. It's clear that this thing does not meet requirements as far as the harmonics are concerned. And I showed this on the review video using my other spectrum analyzer. Now, if we turn this to a 439 megahertz, it's only going to show the 1 right here because the harmonics would be off screen. It's 100, 200, 300, 400 megahertz, 440 megahertz there. The next harmonic would be over 800 megahertz, and this thing tops out at 800 megahertz. You can see it right there. Okay, so a very nice little instrument, and we'll be testing it with various things. Note it says Cal right here, but we'll see if this will give us an output we can run through over to here. My big spectrum analyzer does that. It will provide an output, and then you can put that through a network like a filter, and it will tell you what's going on. So very cool. You get quite a bit for the money here. So now this right here helps us go through the memory items, and you can just touch them like that, and it's got lots and lots and lots of options. So anyway, I'm going to be exploring that. We'll present some more of those in a future video. Okay then, we've gone through a number of the attributes of the Tiny SA. We've shown what comes with it. R&L Electronics is the preferred vendor in the United States. Now, there are lots of copycats of this that you can buy, but the one through R&L Electronics, let's take a look and see how much it is. We're going to do R and L dot, or is it com? Okay. And they've got all kinds of stuff for sale here. Let's take a look at amps, preamps, antennas, antenna accessories, antenna mounts, antenna books, cable, coax, wires, connectors, manuals, miscellaneous power supplies, radios, test equipment. Okay, we clicked on test equipment, and there's miscellaneous, and here is the Tiny SA Ultra, $139.95. It says out of stock, but if you go ahead and order it, which you can, they will charge your credit card once they get it and send that to you. So this is where you get it. By the way, this is a whole lot less expensive than the regular spectrum analyzer that I have, which was actually a couple $1,000s, but it does about the same things, only with a little bit bigger screen. So we'll be exploring in future videos some other things this can do. Okay, so the bottom line is, just as the Nano VNA was able to revolutionize what you could get for the money for a vector network analyzer, we have a nice little spectrum analyzer that can do the same for a price that's a tiny fraction of a real spectrum analyzer. You can get something that is very good in the ham shack for just about whatever ails you. Just by comparison, this is my regular spectrum analyzer here, and this is a Regal DSA815, and it does have an output here which you can run through a network and then come back in here and look to see what the spectrum is on the thing. This has 1 million adjustments. So does the little small one. All right. So this is a pretty good value for the money. It can give your ham shack some greatly desired capabilities to look at different kinds of problems. Normally, oscilloscopes, spectrum analyzers, network analyzers, and so on have historically been very expensive pieces of test equipment. Now, with these little open designs, I'd recommend getting it from R&L Electronics in the States. If you look up Tiny, let me see what that was again, tinysa.org, tinysa.org. You can find the recommended vendor in other countries, okay? And get yourself a really cool piece of test equipment for not much more than a really nice voltmeter that measures true RMS. You can get yourself this little spectrum analyzer when normally they're a couple $1,000s. So, great way to save money, expand your shack, be able to not only measure things, but also just have some fun with the waveform outputs of a signal generator, or now as they call it, arbitrary function generator, which is a lot more syllables than as a signal source. So, there you have it. If you would like to help support this channel financially, please do so. Go to dcastler.com/support and pick a way that works for you. Please don't forget to subscribe and click like, and until we next meet, 73.